I'm so glad you're here with us today. I hope that you will spend the time to look at this weekend devotional or to listen to it and to hear God's words. Don't necessarily listen to my words, listen to what God says. Early in the week, the devotional, we talked about this worry that we have, the tendency to just worry. And that oftentimes what we need to do is be seeking God in prayer so that we might find peace, that we might be able to deal through the situations that are at hand. I want us to consider just a little more this morning this idea of facing the trials of this world. We as Christians, we who belong to God, who sought salvation. I want us to think about who we are, what's happening around us, and the advantages that we have. But as James speaks in James 1, in verse 2, he says, "Count it all joy, my brother, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." When we read these ideas and we look around us today and say, what do we have to be joyful for? Maybe we miss the whole point. As a child of God, our life is not about this world. It's about showing others who the Christ is. But it's not about this world becoming a perfect place for us to live in. It's not going to happen. It's difficult. But he said, call it joy, count it joy when you meet these trials of various kinds, when these things come upon us, and we take on many trials that really aren't ours. But even so, he said, for you know that the testing your faith produces steadfastness. When I have my faith tested, my faith in God, and God comes out on top, then I become more steadfast. I began to really rely upon God. I began to really rely upon that source that I have for peace and comfort, and to have the knowledge that He's there and that it's about my life in Christ and it's about my eternity in heaven. He said, and let steadfastness have its full effect. Let that steadfastness, let the thing begin to grow, that you may become perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. And we look at the world around us and we say, well, how am I to do that? How am I to accomplish those things? It's only through going to God. We often do not have the things within us to withstand. We don't know exactly what we should do or how we should act. These next verses are very important in this idea of staying steadfast. If any of you lacks wisdom, if any of us don't know what we're doing, maybe we just don't understand how to deal with the trial that is there. Maybe we don't know where it's going to take us, and likely are not going to be given that advantage of knowledge. We have to deal through it. He said, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and he will be given to him. Not that it would be taken away, but that he might be able to stay steadfast, he might be able to look. But let him ask in faith with no doubting. Let him genuinely know that God is going to help him stand firm. Help each of us stand firm in the trials that we face. For the one who doubts, and we're standing firm in Christ, not in the things of the world. For the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all of his ways. We need to be willing to look to God, seeking Him, knowing that He will give us that which we need to stand fast, that He will give us that comfort, that He will give us that strength that we might stand up under the trial, and that God might be glorified as we do those things. You see, we have the advantages The world that we live amongst has no advantages. They don't have anyone to hold them up that has the power that God has. Many of them seek their friends, and their friends often abandon them when they become a little bit too difficult. They turn to counselors who know nothing of God. They seek that ability to stand firm in themselves, and it cannot be done. He said, seek God. He said, if you lack wisdom, let him ask God. You see, as a child of God, I have an advantage to go to that all powerful, that creator, that one who cares for me, that one who loves me, to the one who has the power and the strength to give me that which I need to stand firm in his love and his care and do his will. I want you to remember that as you go through this week, seeking God, knowing that he loves you as his child, that he's willing to care for you, that we can lay all of those trials and those difficulties aside if we will only call upon God. Thank you, and may God bless you.